Today we're talking about several ways to warm up your mustache wax. I'm Justin and this is 30 Day Reviews. Over the past few years I have reviewed quite a few mustache wax, and the way that I usually suggest to warm that up is with a blow dryer. And I've been using this old one here for quite a while and it still works pretty darn good. All I do is simply open the tin and warm it up, and that gets the wax to be plenty warm for me. I've also told you guys about the pocket method, which is just shoving it down in the pocket, letting it warm up over 15-20 minutes or so, and then applying it then. Now this really works really well with the softer waxes and even the medium waxes and a very few stronghold waxes as well. And those are the two ways that I've mainly been warming up my mustache wax. However, today I'm going to tell you guys a few more. And the first one is a fairly simple one, which I've also mentioned in the past, which is simply just putting it in between your palms and warming it that way, blowing on it if you want to, and that will usually warm it up a little bit quicker than it will just by putting it into the pocket. I sometimes will kind of spin it around in my palms as I'm moving it just to add that little bit of friction heat as well, and that usually gets most of the mustache wax warm enough that I can apply it easily. The next way seems to me like it's basically just a modified blow dryer, and that of course is putting it directly on to a air vent, which of course then, especially during the winter, well, pretty much only during the winter, you'll have hot air going around it and circulating around it, which will warm up the tin as well as the wax inside. Now I don't think it's going to warm it up quite as fast as a blow dryer would. However, I also see a couple of issues with doing it that way, and that is what happens if your heater turns off and then all of a sudden your wax can't warm up until the next time it turns on. Then you're waiting for it to turn on again, to warm up again, and yeah, it might take a while before you'll get your wax. I also see a problem with it because you're going to be warming the bottom of the tin instead of the top of the tin. Now I suppose as long as you are paying really close attention to it and you don't let it sit there for too horribly long, or your heat source isn't on for too horribly long, you could flip it over and let the wax warm up that way, and the top might be able to warm up a little quicker because of that. The next way I have tried, but honestly it's definitely not one of my favorite ways because it seems to be a little bit touchy, at least for me, and that is just taking whatever tin of mustache wax you happen to be using and running it under warm water. Now, I think that the warm water method definitely works. However, I think that it takes a little bit longer than my standard methods to be able to really get it to be pliable evenly where I want it to for removal from the tin. Now you definitely want to make sure that you are not running too hot of water because you don't want to burn your fingers, and you don't want the tin to get so warm that you are unable to hold it and get the lid off. So that can be an issue, so just make sure that you're doing it on the hotter end but manageable. I just don't prefer that way because when I apply my mustache wax, most of the time it's up here where I have my blow dryer, or I just have it in my pocket anyway. Now the next two ways are pretty darn inventive, and I like the ideas behind them. One of them is a little more practical than the other. So let's start with the less practical of these two. Now a while back when I was searching online, as I do for mustache stuff, I ran across mustachewax.co, and he used to sell a product that was basically a heat lamp that you would put the mustache wax underneath. Now it kind of looks something like this, with 4 little poles underneath it and a platform that then you would take your wax, slide it in, turn on the light, and it would warm it. And I think that might be kind of an interesting thing to try out. Now he no longer sells it, so I can't get one from him, but if you'd like to see me in a video try to make this thing, let me know down in the comment section, because honestly I think it'd be kind of a fun little project. Now, unfortunately for this last one, I don't remember who it was that told me about this, but I thought that it was a really good idea. And if this is your idea or the one that told me about this anyway, please make sure to leave me a comment down below, because I would love to give you credit for it, because it's just a really good idea. Now this next idea is pretty simple, and it's just warmed up bean bags. You put them in the microwave for a little while, get them nice and warm, take them out, take one bean bag, shove the wax on top of it, take the other bean bag, shove it on top of the wax, and let it sit. It'll warm up the entire tin very nicely. Now, I don't have any bean bags. However, I do have this thing. It's meant to cool or heat your back. So before I did this video, because I really wanted to try this out, I decided to go ahead and shove this thing into the microwave for about 5 minutes. And I took the wax that I used today, which is a extreme hold wax. I put it inside of it, I plopped it over, and I folded the rest of it over on top of it and let it sit for about 10 minutes. When I went to go apply the wax, it was really nice. Now, I think I could have warmed up the bag more, and then it would have been pretty much perfect. All I had to do was a little bit of a blow dryer work to be able to get it to actually separate into my mustache. However, getting it out of the tin was a pleasure. It came out nicely. And so I really do have to say that the beanbag method is one that you should probably try. Down in the comment section, let me know what your favorite way of warming up mustache wax is, especially if you do it a way that I didn't list on this video. Now, you might be wondering how to know when your wax is warm enough. Well, everybody's going to have their preferences. However, if it's liquid, you've over-warmed it. If you're having a hard time getting it out of the container with your thumbnail or a tool, I highly suggest that you warm it up some more. For me, I like it warm enough where I have a little bit of pushback from the wax when I'm removing it from the tin, but it is still easy enough that I can remove it. I'd suggest that every time you do your mustache to pay attention to how long you are having the heat source on and how hot you have it, and each time go a little bit more. That way then, once you find out right where you like it, you can just pretty much do that same thing every time that you warm up your wax to get it to be the consistency that you want to be able to apply it to your mustache the way that you prefer. To learn more about applying mustache wax, check out this playlist or video up here, and down below that is going to be a video that you'll probably enjoy as well. Until next time, as always, you have a good one.